Oh, man. Definitely needed an aspirin after that one. I'm just kidding. Transformers: Age of Extinction. Michael Bay's returned to direct Transformers, and this time he's got Mark Wahlberg, or Marky Mark, in the lead role, aside from the paper bag man from the other three. Megan Fox is no longer around in this one. We got a whole bunch of new faces in here. Kelsey Grammer, Stanley Tucci, and a few other people that you might recognize. It takes place a few years after Dark of the Moon, after the war in Chicago. Now the Autobots and Decepticons are shunned by society. The government is hunting them down to wipe them all out. Yeah, the title speaks for itself. Mark Wahlberg is a Texas man who's basically an inventor. He lives in his barn house, making inventions and so on, until he comes across an old relic, a truck, which he believes is a Transformer, Optimus Prime. And of course, the government finds this out, they hunt him down, and the Autobots and Decepticons, or whatever the hell they are, they get into another fight. Now, going into this movie, I wasn't really that excited for it, but I was interested because, I mean, Mark Wahlberg's in it, and I like Mark Wahlberg a lot. And I'm not a hater of Michael Bay or anything. I mean, I do like some of his movies, like mostly from his earlier stuff. I don't really remember The Rock too much, but I do like Armageddon and Bad Boys 1 and 2. Pearl Harbor, I actually think is kind of offensive. I have not seen The Island, but I have seen the other Transformers movies. I saw a little bit of 3, but I lost interest. The first one was okay. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. 2, I actually thought was pretty good until I grew a brain. And you've heard it all before. With Michael Bay, one thing you can tell if this is a movie or not by him, his style is all over here. You got an oversaturated color palette, tilted camera angles zooming in on somebody when they're talking on a beach or something, slow motion effects, sometimes really annoying dialogue, sometimes it's just overblown to all hell where you're just like, shut up, shut up. And what's the other one? Oh yeah, loads of hot girls that look like porn stars, have no acting chops of any kind. Oh yeah, explosions. Lots of explosions. Depending on what movie you're watching by him, there's bound to be explosions here and there. This one has a lot of explosions, and it's got a hot girl in there. What else do you expect? It's Michael Bay. Now, I'm not a Transformers fan. I never grew up watching the 80s show, so I have no really strong feelings for this movie or this franchise. I've never really been a big fan of it, but I'm just going to say this right out. I do understand why people are calling this a disaster, but I personally think it's a little bit better than the other 3. That being said, though, this movie is no different. If you took Mark Wahlberg out of the picture, this movie would be no different from the other 3. But let's get the positives here, shall we? Mark Wahlberg really elevated this movie for me. I thought he really made it a whole lot more bearable. He didn't run around screaming, Optimus! Or whatever. He actually does things. He gets in the fight and he fights back. I liked that, and he wasn't over the top like he was in Pain and Gain. And the CGI, one thing I'll give credit to Michael Bay for, the CGI team that he hires for these movies, they actually do a good job of making it convincing. So when those Autobots or whatever are on screen, you're like, yeah, those guys are actually there. And I bought it 100%. And the score, by the way, I forget the Steven Jablonsky or something, I don't know. The score is really good. That's another thing I could give him credit for. And the characters in here aren't as annoying as some of the other ones in the other 3 Transformers movies, but that being said, this still has some pretty annoying scenes in here where you are just like really rolling your eyes and you see all these cliches coming in. There's a bunch of subplots they try to throw together that just don't make any sense. Basically, it's the same thing as the other 3 Transformers movies, but I think it's personally a little bit better than the other 3. It's a little more watchable, but at the same time, that doesn't make it any better. It's a typical summer blockbuster. I mean, I'm not expecting like Shakespeare or anything out of every movie. I mean, I can enjoy a fun movie, and this one, it did entertain me at moments, but I have no strong feelings towards this franchise, and with Michael Bay behind the camera, this hasn't really won me over exactly for the last 7 years. If you like them, good for you. You're definitely gonna have some fun with this one, because this movie is pretty fun at times. Oh yeah, and the last act, which is what I expect out of a Transformers movie now, it's overblown, in your face, dragged out, and to the point where I'm like, just end already, come on. A fun popcorn movie, not the best movie in the world, but I don't think it's the worst, but it's pretty mediocre at best. But what do you guys think of Transformers 4? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you like the other movies? Let me know what you think down below, and see you next time.